Topic in the video belongs to the lesson electromagnetic induction. Learning outcomes of this video are introduction to electromagnetic induction. What is electromagnetic induction? Details you will get through this topic, and details about magnetic flux, experiments of Michael Faraday and Henry, and lastly Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction.
Namaste students, welcome to physics class. According to Oersted, you learned already current carrying conductor produces magnetic field. Through Oersted experiment, we analyzed and we got the information. Now, the converse. So, according to Oersted, current carrying conductor producing magnetic field. Now, reverse means can magnetic field produce current? That we are going to learn in electromagnetic induction lesson.
Before going to the introduction to electromagnetic induction, first, one question for you. Can we produce magnetic field with current? The answer is yes. We already learned in the last lesson, that is one of the topic, Oersted experiment. So Oersted identified first the current carrying conductor produces magnetic field. So I will give the details in the next slide. So one more question. So here magnetic field produced by the current means current producing magnetic field. Reverse, can we produce current using magnetic field? That is also possible. So with electromagnetic induction. So before going to the electromagnetic induction introduction, so let me give the clarity about the current carrying conductor producing magnetic field, that is Oersted experiment. According to Oersted experiment, unfortunately it happened, Oersted one day in the laboratory near the current carrying conductor he placed one deflection magnetometer, then suddenly observed the deflection in the magnetometer. So with respect to that, he discovered one thing, that is magnetic field is associated with an electric current. It was discovered at that time. So if you discuss in a particular systematic way, so for that purpose just consider AB a current carrying conductor. So I found that when a wire AB carrying current was held over a magnetic needle NS, as shown in the figure, such that electric current passes from one end to the other end, then the north pole of the magnet got deflected towards the west. So here what it may be the direction. So simply one thing we can say, the current carrying conductor produces magnetic field, that is why another magnet deflected. One magnet will be deflected by another magnetic field. So here the deflection they observed, with respect to that Oersted confirmed that current carrying conductor producing magnetic field. Now converse, with the magnetic field can we produce the current? So those details I will give you. So let's go to the topic, that is electromagnetic induction. So before going to discuss about the production of current using magnetic field, so first let me give the details about electromagnetic induction as a definition. The phenomenon of generation of current or EMF. So here EMF means electromotive force that we can treat as voltage by changing the magnetic field is known as electromagnetic induction. So simply we are calling as EMI, nothing but electromagnetic induction. The EMF developed in the conductor by the process of EMF is known as induced EMF. Why? Because generally it is not there. By introducing the changing magnetic field, we are developing that one. So generally across the terminals of a particular conductor, that voltage is not there. We developed, we induced. So that is why that is induced EMF. By applying the magnetic field, we did. So that is why we are calling that as induced. So induced voltage developed due to that current will pass, that current flowing through the conductor, that we are calling as induced current. Next, magnetic flux. So before going to the experimental details, so let me give complete details about magnetic flux. Why? Because here the change of magnetic flux only produces the EMF or induced current. So for that, first you should have clear knowledge on magnetic flux. So magnetic flux means the total number of magnetic field lines of force passing through a closed surface are called magnetic flux. That if you analyze with respect to a symbol, so it is denoted by phi. So actually phi means maybe electric flux or magnetic flux. So in particular, if you mention B, that is directly it is magnetic flux. So in case of electric flux, we are using phi E as a suffix. Unit Weber or Maxwell, another unit also there, that is Maxwell. The relation between them, 1 Weber equals to 10 to the power of 8 Maxwell. Now, to get the mathematical analysis of the magnetic flux, to represent the magnetic flux with respect to magnetic field and the flux where it is connected to a particular area. So once observe the diagram. So particular area A we are observing with respect to the normal. Why I am saying with respect to the normal? If you change the your view, if it is not along the normal, then area decreases. So for that, just simple one experiment you can do. For example, you are observing the mobile display or laptop display now while watching the video. Now the change the elevation. So now you are in front of the display. Now if you change the view, if you are not observing along the normal, just if you see little bit, then the area will change. Or no need to change your face, just change the display plane little bit, means rotate the display little bit. So if it is the laptop, just change the screen little bit, then you can observe the area change. So either area may increases or decreases, that is according to view. So along the normal you can observe maximum area. If you change the view not along the normal, definitely there is a small decrease in area. If you convert the display, then area decreases and become 0 also. If you observe along the plane of the material, then so for example, if your view is parallel to the display, you can't see the display, so the total display area will be 0. So along the normal it is maximum. So that is why normal view area capital E. Now for example, B is the magnetic flux, it's making an angle theta with respect to the normal. Now along the normal, the component of magnetic flux we can represent as B cos theta. So here theta we consider with respect to the normal. So B magnetic field in this direction, then along this direction it is the adjacent component. So that is why B cos theta. So according to magnetic induction definition, magnetic induction or flux density, nothing but magnetic flux per unit area. So that you can also write like this: flux phi B equals to B bar dot A bar. So here B bar magnetic field, it is a vector quantity that we already know. So here area also we are treating as a vector. Why? Because along the normal it is having one value. If you change the elevation, then value is decreasing. With respect to direction, the value is changing, means that is a vector. So here area we can treat as a vector. Why? Because the magnitude of the area changing with respect to the direction. So A bar is the area vector. Then the dot product of B bar and A bar, nothing but BA cos theta. Now B cos theta is the magnetic field according to the magnitude, and A is the area along the normal. Then the flux along the normal is phi B. So phi B flux along the normal to the plane in the diagram, that is AB cos theta. Now we can write like this simply: BA cos theta or B bar dot A bar. So just I am keeping B bar dot A bar. So I want to convert into integral form. So in integral form, phi B equals to B bar dot A bar. Here A is the total area. Now the total area, for example, you divided into small areas, dA areas. Now sum of all areas gives the total area. The sum of all areas means integration of dA small area, you will get the total area. So B bar dot into integral dA bar is the total area. Here integral dA bar is the total area. So A bar we can represent like this. Now that B bar also we can write inside, then it will be flux phi B equals to integral B bar dot dA bar. So it is almost like Gauss law in magnetic field. So Gauss law in electric field, that is phi E equals to integral E bar dot ds bar. So similarly here magnetic flux equals to integral B bar dot dA bar. Further, the magnetic flux dimensional formula. So if you study dimensional formula also, according to the formula B bar dot A bar, so that B bar dot A bar we can convert in such a way that to know the magnetic flux we are introducing the known physical quantities. So directly B we don't know, but we are assuming one thing. So accordingly we can introduce the known physical quantities which dimensional formula we know clearly. So then we can write the dimensional formula for magnetic flux. So directly B dimensional formula if you don't know, then we can convert into one simple known formula, so in which all physical quantities dimensions if you know, then it is easy for us. So here we know that F is the force on a charged particle Q moving perpendicular to the magnetic field B with velocity V is F equals to BQV. Actually it's BQV sin theta. For example, if it is perpendicular that I mentioned already, so we know the formula F equals to BQV. So in this B equals to F by QV. So now instead of B we can substitute F by QV. So we want only dimension, so that is why just dot product is not matter, we want just only dimension. So for that we want only quantities magnitudes. So instead of B, F by QV into area A. Now further, F dimensional formula we know in class 11 many times we used dimensional formula of force MLT power minus 2. A area means that is length into breadth, so L into L, L square, and Q dimensional formula directly it is not there, so again we have to convert. For that, current nothing but rate of flow of charge, or simply Q by T time is nothing but current, so we have to convert the charge into current into time. So current equals to charge by time, so charge equals to current into time. So if you substitute now all physical quantities dimensions we know, so F and A already I mentioned, so I current direct dimension, and T time dimension capital T, and V velocity nothing but LT power minus 1. If you substitute all, so as it is flux formula F by ITV into A. So now if you substitute dimensions, so F dimensional formula MLT power minus 2, and area dimension L square, and I current small I dimension symbol capital I, or in some books they are using A also capital A. So capital A is giving confusion, why? Because already area A is there, so that is why I'm using capital I is the dimension symbol for current, and T time dimension symbol capital T, and velocity LT power minus 2. So here clearly we can get cancel T and T power minus 1, and as well as L and L. So then the remaining all if you mention M L square and T power minus 2, and in denominator I is there, if you shift to the numerator then I power minus 1, M L square T power minus 2 into I power minus 1. This is the dimensional formula for magnetic flux. Next, experiments of Faraday and Henry. So here both did few experiments, and from that they are mentioning few points. The first experiment, that is current induced by a magnet. So for that once observe the diagram. So here one closed coil is there. So that closed coil is connected to the galvanometer to know the current, either it is there or not, it connected. and if you pass the magnet towards the coil, so here you can observe arrow mark, so the magnet is coming towards the coil and here north pole facing the coil. So if it is coming towards, then there is a current, and direction we will discuss in the next class. So here just only I'm mentioning the current. So here the change of magnetic flux. Here I'm using the word change of magnetic flux. Reason, if the magnet is a little bit away from the coil, then number of lines of force are very less. As it is coming close to the coil, then number of lines of force increases. So here you can see area, and here you can see the area. Same area, if you consider here more number of lines of force, here less number of lines of force. Reason, the magnet here it is at long distance, here it is at nearby. So as flux coming towards, or magnet coming towards the coil, then magnetic lines of force will increase. So due to the increase in magnetic flux, or due to decrease in magnetic flux also, so that is why simply we are using the word due to change in magnetic flux linked with the closed coil, there is a EMF, there is a induced current in the coil. So that is observed by the Faraday. So this is the first experiment. So here coil is at rest, magnet is moving. For suppose if you do in reverse, then also induced EMF will develop in the closed coil. So either magnet moving towards the stationary closed coil, or closed coil going towards the stationary magnetic field or stationary bar magnet, the effect will be the same. There will be a change in magnetic flux, so which induces the induced current or induced EMF. Now the second experiment, current induced by a current. So for that, once observe the diagram. So in the diagram, for example, one coil is at rest and it is connected to the galvanometer. Then if you move another coil, so which is connected to a battery, so in that there is a current. So the current carrying coil produces magnetic field, that we already learned according to Biot-Savart's law. The magnetic induction value produced at the center at a particular point also we derived. So here current carrying coil also it is like a bar magnet. So the current carrying coil coming towards the coil, so definitely there is a change in flux, there is an increase in flux. As it is moving away, then also there is a change in magnetic flux. So the change in magnetic flux produces induced EMF here. So with respect to that, we can observe the deflection in the galvanometer. That means there is a current induced due to change in magnetic flux. That is the current in the coil producing magnetic field, and we are moving the coil towards, so there is a change in magnetic flux linked with this closed coil C1. So induced current, induced EMF is there. So this is the second experiment. So current induced by a current. Next, third experiment, current induced by changing current. So here first experiment, the magnet is coming towards a coil. In second experiment, a current carrying coil coming towards the coil. Now in last case, there is no movement in the coil, so both the coils are at rest. But even then, due to the change in current in one coil induces magnetic field in the another coil. For example, in C2 coil we connected an AC supply. That AC supply is nothing but AC, alternating current. Continuously it is altering, means there is a change in current continuously. So due to change in current, definitely there is a variable magnetic field. So that variable magnetic field means increasing, decreasing magnetic field connected to the closed coil induces the EMF in the first coil C1. So here both are relatively at rest, but even then due to the change in current produces change in magnetic field, means change in magnetic flux, which induces the induced EMF in the coil C1. So in this case also we can observe the deflection in the galvanometer. So it's the third experiment. Next, Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. So from all these, he is giving two laws. The first one, Faraday's first law. whenever the amount of magnetic flux linked with a closed circuit changes, an EMF is induced in it. So according to that wording, so if magnetic flux linked with the coil changes, there is a EMF. So that magnitude of EMF that is there in the second law, that is the magnitude of induced EMF in the circuit is equals to the negative rate of change of magnetic flux through the coil. So here just magnitude wise I wrote equal, but in particularly it is opposite effect. Change of magnetic flux, the coil is opposing, so that is why we will represent with the negative sign. So that is why the induced EMF proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux, but I am using the word the negative rate of change of magnetic flux actually. So here magnitude wise both are proportional. If you change more magnetic flux, there will be a more induced EMF but in opposite direction. That opposite direction and all details with respect to Lenz law we can study. That is the next topic that I will explain in the next video. So here according to Faraday second law, the induced EMF is proportional to change in magnetic flux, or we can write equal. So there is no proportionality constant, so directly it is equals to minus d phi b by dt, means the proportionality constant value 1. So here rate of change of magnetic flux we can also represent. So it is a change. So for example, final flux, initial flux phi2 minus phi1, and dt change in time t2 minus t1. So we can represent like this also. Now if the closed coil having n number of turns, due to one turn we are getting this effect. If due to two turns, then it will be doubled. If there are three turns, it will be 3 times. So due to n number of times, the effect will be n times. So induced EMF E equals to minus n into d phi b by dt. So here induced EMF produced in the coil which is having n number of turns is equals to minus n into d phi b by dt. Induced current. So according to Ohm's law, V equals to IR. So just now we analyzed the EMF. EMF nothing but voltage. So according to Ohm's law, V equals to IR, that we can write I equals to voltage by time. Sorry, voltage by resistance. So induced current flowing in the coil according to Ohm's law, current equals to voltage by resistance, nothing but E by R. Now EMF according to Michael Faraday, for a coil of n number of turns, minus n into d phi b by dt, so by R. So this is the induced current in a coil of n number of turns. Now from this we can get the charge also. So electric charge flows due to induced current. So here current nothing but charge by time. So charge equals to current into time. So here already current is there. So here if you shift the time towards left side, then I into dt, nothing but charge. So we can get charge q equals to I into dt. So if you shift dt, then remaining minus n by r into d phi b, that is only change in magnetic flux. So this is the induced current expression. Thank you.